Hi, I'm Julie Stokes with Ellevate, Louisiana. In today's Engage Quick Take, I'm visiting with former guest of the show, Dr. Monty Sullivan, who was selected as the fourth president of the Louisiana Community and Technical College System in February of 2014. We're going to talk briefly about the MJ Foster Promise program that recently passed the legislative session that just adjourned. You can also check out our previous episode with Dr. Sullivan on our website at www.elevate.org. How are you doing today, Dr. Sullivan?
Doing great, doing great. It's great to be back with you. Thank you for the work you're doing.
Well, right back at you. You're doing an incredible job over there with LCTCS, which is always a little bit of a tongue teaser to get out there.
Right.
So can you share with us just a little bit behind the creation of the MJ Foster Promise program and why you believe that it's going to be really important to educational interest?
Louisiana has 2.3 million working age adults. 1.1 million of those have a high school diploma or less. The focus that we brought to this issue is to try to find a way to educate and skill that adult population. We have an incredible program in TOPS that serves the 18-year-old population. What we are focused on is the 21-year and over group, helping them to gain the skills that they need in order to be able to go to work, take care of their families, and be a contributor to the great state of Louisiana.
That's incredible. That's so good. It does seem like these promise programs are something that's going on around the country. And can you share with us a little of what makes Louisiana's MJ Foster Promise different from the others?
Sure. I think first and foremost, what you hear people say is they juxtapose or interchange the words promise and free. This program was not about free, because I'm not convinced that free is the answer to much of anything. We saw that in the early 1960s and 1970s as we talked about compulsory K-12 education and free school lunches and the like. And we've all heard the quotes around, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Truly, there is no such thing as a free education. Instead, it's the promise that if you take the step to get the education that is necessary to participate in this economy, you will find a better life. And that's the core value of the Promise program. I did not mention Mike Foster a second ago, but I have to say, this gentleman is truly the father of community and technical colleges in this state. Without the vision that Mike Foster brought to bear, our colleges and our system would not be operating at the level that we are today. We owe he and his family a tremendous debt of gratitude. So what makes our Promise program different? Short-term training is a great example. Most Promise programs across the nation focus in on associate degrees. They even focus in, many of them, on transfer to baccalaureate degrees. The reality is Louisiana's economy is largely driven by the technicians, those individuals that support the professional engineering positions and roles. Without those technicians, Louisiana's people miss out. And so we very purposefully identified adults as the population. We identified the 5 core areas that we said, these are the program areas where we believe the state of Louisiana should invest in your education. You can't show up at our colleges and take a program that is not in high demand. So these are programs that are very specifically driven. And then I think finally the short-term training component. Students can walk in and take programs that are 250 hours in length, that they can knock out in 4-6 weeks. Think about that individual that was in the hospitality industry doing fairly well for themselves pre-COVID, that after COVID strikes, you find yourself without a job. You want to get into a position that allows you to maintain a level of, or even improve your level of standing. These programs, 4, 6, 10 weeks in length, allow an individual to get in, get that certification, get out, and go to work. That's what this is really all about. You may have heard about Reboot Your Career, which is really a forerunner to the Promise program, and has just been hugely successful. We passed June 30. So in 1 year, we took $10 million that the governor allocated toward short-term training, and we turned that $10 million into 5,000 completers, individuals that now have certifications that allow them to go to work, make a living, take care of their families. That's an additional 5,000 people that are not drawing unemployment. It's an additional 5,000 people that are not dependent upon the state of Louisiana for child care, for SNAP benefits, for medical benefits. I mean, you go down the list, it is a significant contribution back to the state. So those are the elements that really make the Foster Promise program different than what you find in many other states.
Well, and it's exactly, in my opinion, what Louisiana needs. You know, we need to lift up our workforce, which also means lifting up our people. And
That's right.
that cuts crime, it cuts poverty rates, it makes children healthier. It's just a win-win. So, you know, what do you think this looks like in 10 years? What does the MJ Foster Promise program look like?
You know, when we originally conceived this idea in conjunction with President Cortez and Speaker Scheck-Snyder, there were a couple of things we wanted to be sure of. First and foremost, we wanted to ensure that every year legislators got a report in their hands that showed them the impact of that investment. Where was the money spent? How many people were trained? What areas were they trained in? Did they go to work? What were they making? What was the tax contribution back to Louisiana? And really, what was the return on investment? And so that is one big component. But the second piece is one that we heard from legislators, and that is TOPS has become a runaway expenditure in Louisiana. Now that's not a shot in any way at TOPS. In fact, I think it's a positive statement. The students of the state of Louisiana are doing what is necessary to meet that requirement, and therefore the expense is increasing. So we purposefully placed a cap on this program, $10.5 million. We wanted to demonstrate across the next 2 to 3 years exactly what the impact could be for people, but also for the state of Louisiana. I would suggest to you that within the next 5 years, this program is wildly successful to the tune of 75 to 80,000 students a year being served. Probably a budget that is, I won't even go to the budget number, but significantly higher. Let's just leave it at that. But as you look at the $3,200 per year, the $6,400 lifetime cycle, it says to the people of Louisiana, education is not a one-shot deal. Get that certification, go to work, but always know that there is another certification in your future, another step in your future that will allow you to continue to educate, continue to make progress, and ultimately continue to make a living for your family. So, you know, I anticipate the impact for that 1.1 million working age adults is where we will see the most gain in Louisiana. And my hope is 3 to 5, 7 years from now, we're having discussions in House Rev and FISC, not about tax policy, but about how we broaden the base of Louisiana's tax base. That, to me, is the long-term solution.
Well, it's really good stuff, and it's I think going to be a big asset to our state, and as are you and the LCTCS. We really appreciate the work that you're doing, and we just thank you for sharing your thoughts with us today on Ellevate's Quick Take. If you're interested in joining Ellevate, see more of our podcasts, or attending the upcoming summit, visit our website at ellevatela.org. That's Ellevate with 2 L's. I'm your host, Julie Stokes, and we'll see you next time.